Well, I don't see that as a particularly significant statement. Trump has made clear that he will give Israel a blank check, a directive to, in his words, finish the job in Gaza. So I think there's going to be all hell to pay regardless. However, if Hamas was smart, it would, of course, go ahead and release the hostages. Well, so obviously in Gaza, there's the ongoing Israeli military offensive that is killing tens and thousands of people, most of them civilians. Trump is giving that a green light, saying they can do whatever they want. The new situation is what's going on in Syria, where the HTS and other rebel groups have taken Aleppo in just 2 days. They're proceeding to Hama, where there are memories of the very brutal actions by Hafez al-Assad, that is the current president's father, in 1982. And the question is, will the Assad government survive? This could be a very rapid collapse, like what we saw in Afghanistan in 2021, what we saw in Iraq in 2014 with the Islamic State, where the momentum is with the insurgents and the regime just collapses. This is particularly true in circumstances where the outside party protecting the regime disappears. When the U.S. withdrew from Afghanistan, it was just 2 weeks and the whole government that the U.S. had supported for 20 years collapsed. In Syria, the Russians are preoccupied with Ukraine. Hezbollah, which has been a main supporter of the Assad government, has been severely damaged by Israel. It's withdrawn its forces. Iran can't operate the way it used to. And what happens is psychological. The forces that are supporting the government feel that they're going to lose, and they stop fighting, they go home, they switch to the other side, and the momentum builds. So there's a question as to whether that's what's happening, or is the opposition, the HTS and its allies, are they carving out a particular corner of Syria? Well, it certainly could expand, and it's not just up to Trump. You have the expansion of the conflict in Syria. You have the possibility of military action by Israel against Iran, or by Iran against Israel. And then the question is, will it expand to Iraq? That will depend on whether the Shiite militias, some of whom already have gone to Syria to support Assad, whether they, for example, decide to launch attacks on Israel from Iraqi soil. So yes, the entire Middle East could be in flames. Well, his statement, of course, is meant to encourage Hamas to release the hostages. It's a threat, and it's a threat that Hamas ought to take seriously. I think he promised to stop the war in the Middle East. He promised to stop the war in Ukraine. He's a man, it's very easy to make promises. It's very hard to keep them, and he's certainly never been a man of his word. It appears that the wars in the Middle East are expanding, and my guess is that he will not be able to end the war in Ukraine, even though he will try to persuade Ukraine to surrender. Ukraine won't surrender. Well, the message to Hamas is, if you don't release the hostages, we're going to support Israel to do whatever it wants to do. I think that's the message that lies behind that. He's trying to threaten Hamas into releasing the hostages. I certainly hope it succeeds, because the hostages, there's no excuse for holding all these people hostages. You know, these were kids at a music festival. Well, yes, they are, in the sense that Hezbollah started attacking Israel in support of the Hamas in Gaza, and Israel then retaliated with a series of attacks that have diminished Hezbollah, including the pager attack, the attack on walkie-talkies, the assassination of key Hamas leaders, key Hezbollah leaders, and that caused Hezbollah to withdraw its forces from Syria back to Lebanon, and that weakened the Assad regime and enabled rebels to take Aleppo and to advance onto Hama in a matter of a very few days. It certainly could change the map. Syria could become a federal state in which the northeast would be run by the Kurdish forces, perhaps the way they are running it right now, with their own military, in which you would have an area from Idlib to Aleppo to Hama that would be run by effectively Islamic groups, Sunni Islamic groups. Maybe the area around Latakia would remain with the Alawites, and then you'd have a central area around Damascus, maybe an area for the Druze in Sueda. So yes, the internal map of Syria could change very, very significantly.